Friends, I welcome you to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It is not difficult for you, but it is pleasant for me. And we're starting. There is no mystery as to why I wanted to become a firefighter for as long as I can remember. My father was a firefighter. When I was little, I had all the toys related to fire. Besides the usual fire trucks, ambulances, and trucks with ladders, I had a burning village with burning cellophane on the windows. Over the years, I've probably saved 100,000 people, mostly women and girls. I didn't want any other toys for Christmas or birthdays. The only exception was stuffed animals. I had 7 Dalmatians of different sizes. There is a whole collection of fire equipment in my closet from size 3 and up. My name is Butch Davis. I didn't take the last name Butch until it passed to me when my father died. I was 12 at the time. He ran into a burning factory where dozens of people were trapped. After rescuing more than 10 workers, the ceiling collapsed on him and 3 others. We were told that the end was quick and he didn't suffer much. I hope that was the case. One of the local fire stations is named in his honor. I had all kinds of painful emotions from losing my father, but one thing surprised me the most: anger. I was angry at the fire. I felt like the fire had deliberately challenged me to do something to take my father away. I had nightmares about a flaming figure laughing at me while I was watering it with a huge fire hose. My spraying has always been ineffective. Every time I woke up, I was determined to take revenge. Throughout high school, I prepared for my future vocation by studying natural sciences, keeping fit, and spending time in the fire department. My mother begged me to develop other interests, including girls. I gave up and dated a few girls. Nothing serious happened until I met Jennifer. We found a common language from the very beginning. Attractive, caring, and she loved me. She seemed to like my single-minded desire to serve society, and later, of course, she took advantage of my toned body. After spending most of the last 2 years at school together, we decided to get married. She got a job as an accountant after doing well in accounting courses in high school. I applied for a job as a firefighter. We had an apartment in the garage at my mother's house. I was accepted into the fire department and started training almost immediately. Jennifer was proud to see me in my first real firefighter costume. At first, when I started working regular shifts, Jennifer didn't complain. When she entered into our marriage, she knew that I would work strange shifts. We enjoyed each other no matter what time of day my schedule allowed me to be at home. In a few years, with a normal salary increase and promotion, we could afford to move into a small house for beginners. More importantly, Jennifer stopped taking the pills. 10 months later, we were blessed with the most beautiful girl in the world. We named her Virginia Louise after her 2 grandmothers. Now there were 2 loves in my life. Jennifer's views on our marriage began to change after the birth of our child. Firstly, although she had a normal pregnancy, Jennifer stated that she did not want to go through it again. She pressured me to have a vasectomy, as taking pills made it difficult for her to maintain her ideal weight, and condoms reduced her pleasure. We could always adopt a child if we wanted more children. My communication with Jennifer became more valuable to her because of the amount of time she had to spend with our little daughter. She needed my help with the baby, but she also didn't want to waste the time she spent with me. In addition, I began to hear more and more often that she was worried that I might get hurt or die at work, leaving her to take care of Virginia alone. I dismissed her concerns. As long as she knew me, she knew that I was going to become a firefighter. She had to adjust. My disrespect for her concerns was a big mistake on my part. After a couple of years, I went to undergo cross-training as an emergency room doctor. I spent my evenings at home regularly for 2 weeks. Jennifer was thrilled. I had to play every night with Virginia, and I had to play later every night with Jennifer. Jennifer often and emphatically said that this is how it should be. She and I both regretted it when I returned to my regular schedule. It didn't seem to matter much to Jennifer that my being in the ambulance as an orderly meant that I would be less likely to be in danger. She said all emergency services were in danger. When Virginia was old enough to go to school, Jennifer returned to work. She found out that she has a new boss who recently moved here. Jennifer said she found him to be a very nice man who raised a girl Virginia's age after he lost his wife in a car accident. His move here was partly motivated by a desire to get away from the city, which had too many memories of his wife. Jennifer said he often had a sad expression on his face. She expressed regret about his situation. I didn't see the red flag. Time passed. I continued to be absorbed in my work and spend as much free time with Virginia as possible. I didn't notice that my time and affection for Jennifer had decreased during this time. I agreed, based on the assumption that we are a typical family and it will always be like this. That was my feeling until I got the divorce papers. After I was served at the fire station, I took a sick leave and went home to talk to Jennifer. She was finishing packing her things. I couldn't find the words, and she had a lot of words. You must be shocked, because for many years you had no idea about our marriage. My fears for your safety and the fact that you voluntarily sacrificed the time you spent with me simply meant nothing to you. And don't you dare say, I didn't see this coming. It was done so that you could see. You just chose not to see. That's the thing. When Art became my boss, we became close. He was suffering from the loss of his wife. I suffered from the loss of time spent with my husband. We both had daughters of the same age, whom we mostly raised ourselves. They go to the same school and to after-school clubs. Initially, we talked mostly about them. I was lamenting how little time you had for our daughter and even less for me. And don't you dare equate the time you played with her at night with what I had to do with her the rest of the time. Art and I were talking to each other. Do you remember when we used to do that? Art and I comforted each other. We cried together. We hugged each other sympathetically. In the end, we fell in love with each other. To be honest, I was ready to take our love to the physical level much earlier than he was. He went on to say that he hated being the reason for the breakup of a marriage. In the end, I convinced him that I was going to divorce you regardless of whether we were going to make love or not. He gave up, and we've been close for a couple of months now. It all boils down to this. He's the one I want right now. I'm sorry I'm doing this to you, mostly because of Virginia. I know that you love her, and she loves you. I will give you virtually unlimited access to it, regardless of the court's decision. The settlement agreement that I proposed in the petition is fair. You get the house, I keep my car, you pay child support, I don't get child support, and we split the assets 50-50. Virginia and I are moving in with Art and his daughter Chloe. The address is indicated in the divorce application. No matter what you think, Art is a good person. He and Virginia get along well. Virginia and his daughter are already acting like sisters. Although he hesitated to support my divorce, he is glad that everything has finally become known. He hopes that you and he can be polite to each other. There is a high probability of this. I was hoping that you would react better, but I think the emotions are too strong right now. As soon as you take some time to do this, I think you'll realize that in the long run it's better for all of us, including Virginia. And how exactly would that be best for her? She will still have you as her father, and she will have a father figure who is really present at important events in her life. Damn it, Butch. She deserves more than you can give her. Can't you see that? I think not. Let me know when you want to see Virginia. She's already aware of what we're doing. Please understand how tense she is and try not to make the situation worse. Jennifer headed for the door. You pull a divorce petition out of your ass and tell me not to bother her? Of all of them? Goodbye, Butch. Jennifer left. I called the divorce lawyer and asked how I could burn this fool. I was told that what she was offering was probably the best I could have hoped for. I could have paid him to delay the divorce, but the final terms would hardly have been better. Only the wallets of 2 lawyers will benefit. I signed the damn papers. Our marriage broke up with a sob, not a bang. I started a relationship with bourbon until my boss told me it was either booze or my job, not both. I stopped drinking. What I haven't given up on is hurting or plotting revenge. I just couldn't think of any way to take revenge without directly or indirectly harming my daughter. Virginia, however, caused me more and more pain every time I saw her. She was reluctant to go anywhere with me unless her new sister, Chloe, could go too. When I heard her call Art Daddy, it broke my heart into pieces that hadn't been shattered yet. The first time she canceled a date with me because of an important family event, she did it for me. I couldn't bring myself to schedule another visit. Jennifer had a few suitable words for me to abandon my child. I've got some choice words for Jennifer and the jerk who's ruining my life. I was trying to focus on my work, the job I was born to do, the job I've always dreamed of, a job that cost me my family. In fact, I can't blame work as much as I let it consume me. I willingly admit my guilt in this. For all my dedication to my duty, to be honest, most of my work was boring. I used to drive an ambulance. They forced me to work as a firefighter a few times, but 90% of the time I was an emergency room doctor. Most of our ambulance trips were sent either for the dead or for the dying people. There were too many runs just because the person was so large or physically handicapped that he had no other means of medical transportation. Sometimes we had to give artificial respiration to a person who would have died earlier without us. They usually died within the next few days. Then there were dehydrated people who were injected with saline. We were rarely called to a place where there was a fire, and even less often we treated people for scratches, cuts, or smoke inhalation. As I said, boring, that is, until then. The alarm went off and I ran to the ambulance. When I got on the road, I found out the address of Virginia's after-school club. Shit, my daughter would have been there at that time. I put the pedal to the floor. I rammed a couple of cars that just had to try to get through the intersection before the ambulance arrived. Sue me, you assholes. I broke through the traffic and drove through the last corner on 2 wheels. The sight I saw shocked me to the core. Flames were shooting out of several windows of the Circle building. I parked the ambulance and ran up to a group of children and a teacher I knew. Where's Virginia? She and a few others are still inside. Please help them. She didn't even have time to finish the sentence, as I was already on the move. I ran through the open door, not sure what I was going to face. Flames erupted around the door jamb, and I was burned. I'm not sure how I broke down the classroom door, but I did it. The teacher was lying on the floor. I told her to get the kids out the door. She and the children were heading for the exit when I heard, "Dad, Dad, help me." It was Virginia. A bookshelf fell on her. I picked it up as if it were made of paper. He grabbed his daughter and dragged her outside. I grabbed her under my arm and ran, kneeling, to the door, trying not to inhale the smoke. When we got to the front door, the teacher and the other children were still there. The flames around the door prevented them from getting out. Remembering what I saw when I entered, I realized that I just had to put them out the door. They were too scared by the flames to try to get out. There was no time to convince them to just run through it quickly. First, I threw the teacher out, and then I started throwing the kids out the door, hoping that the teacher or someone else would be there to get them away from the building. Virginia and I were the last, and my ass was literally on fire. Once outside, I sat on my ass and breathed fresh air. I felt great. That's what I've been training for. This is what I practiced with my toys as a child. It was... Virginia interrupted my self-congratulation. "Dad, Chloe is still there." "Oh, please, dear Lord, let her be wrong." I looked at the teacher who was examining the rescued children. She looked at me with great fear and screamed. She went to the bathroom before the fire broke out. I immediately prayed, "Dad, I'm coming. Either help me get through this, or prepare a place for me. If I die, I'll be there for dinner." Before I could move forward, my boss grabbed me. "Damn it, Butch. I'm ordering you not to go back there. You'll just kill yourself. Do you hear me?" I sat down abruptly, as if obeying him, coming to terms with the facts. Then I turned around and punched the boss. He fell down. I put on his fire jacket, helmet, and oxygen supply. I ran to the door, which was now completely engulfed in flames. I was wearing only regular trousers and shoes. As a result, my left leg and foot were burned when entering the building. I could tell I was howling in pain and the sickening smell of burning flesh. I soon realized that I was running out of oxygen. The plastic tubes running from the mask to the oxygen tank have melted. I took off my mask, and it seemed to me that I was breathing flames. I strained my memory to remember the location of the toilet. Somehow I ignored the flames, opened the toilet door, and immediately closed it back. The toilet gave me a short break. Chloe was lying unconscious on the floor, but she was breathing. I took one of the towels in the toilet and threw it into the sink, trying to get as much wet as possible. Wrapping Chloe, especially her head, in a towel, I took her under my right arm and tried to direct Walter Payton, who interrupted the tackle, and score a touchdown. The flames acted like waiting midfielders. Holding the falling hot debris with my left hand, I shouted, "Fuck you, fire. It belongs to me." Somehow, and I really don't know how, I managed to get out before I lost consciousness. I had a dream. My face was a lump of fat sizzling in a frying pan, and I couldn't tear it off. I woke up with a start. "Doctor, he's awake." The voice was familiar. I opened my eyes. It was my ex-wife Jennifer. The medical staff came running. The nurse asked, "Mr. Davis, do you hear me?" I motioned for the nurse to come closer. I whispered as loudly as I could, "Get that fool out of here, or I'll sue you for $1 million." It wasn't what the nurse expected to hear, but Jennifer was taken out crying. I gave the order that I didn't want to see anyone except my fire brigade. I wanted to see Virginia, but I didn't want her to see me. Not in the shape I was in then. I was surprisingly happy for two main reasons. I was told that Chloe was alive, and I had morphine injections. I have been going through a lot of surgeries and skin grafts for several months. My left leg was amputated, and my left arm and the left side of my face were badly burned. I could get a job at The Walking Dead and I wouldn't have to wear makeup. The only visitors were the firemen, who told me how much better I looked now. Smart guys. I love them all. The city insurance company paid all my medical and rehabilitation bills. I was awarded awards for bravery. But the best award I got was from Virginia and Chloe. They awarded me the Dad of the Year. I plan to keep the certificate they created and colored for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. What the hell is going to happen now? I couldn't be a firefighter anymore. There is too much damage due to an amputated left leg and an incomplete left arm. I was given a part-time job at the EOC as a dispatcher to help supplement my disability payments. That made me happy. I managed to keep Jennifer and Art away from me. I have rejected all verbal and written attempts to contact me. To hell with them, their thanks and apologies. I didn't do it for them. However, they managed to indirectly convey some amazing information to me. One of the firefighters who arrived told me, "Dude, you're not going to believe this. The bastard who stole your wife and whose daughter you saved has just joined the fire department. You could have told me that all the media had become Trump supporters, and I would have believed that sooner than what I just heard. I should have asked for more information. Yes, he says there's no way he can repay you for saving his daughter, but he could repay the department and the community for losing a firefighter. He says he knows he will never be able to become a good firefighter like you, but he will try his best. Don't worry, Butch. We told him a lot of shit because of what he did to you. He won't be able to. No, leave him alone. In fact, I want you to help him. Dude, did you inject yourself with too much morphine? He stole your wife and daughter." I smiled and said, "Think about it. My wife left me for him partly because I was a firefighter and he wasn't. This is true. I can't think of a better revenge for her. She can't help but be a hypocrite. I'm loving it. I will also take revenge on Art. He must live the rest of his life knowing that the man he stole his wife from saved his precious daughter. I think I'm the luckiest cripple on earth." I smiled so hard that the burned part of my face hurt. I injected more morphine instead of stopping grinning. Now that my mood has lifted, I've decided that I'm ready to meet people, or rather, let them see me. First, I asked for a meeting with Art, which hopefully made my ex very angry. I was getting better and better. Art came in, sobbing like a child. "Butch, I owe you so much. I'll do my best for you. Just ask me. You refused to let me help pay your bills. I didn't know what to do. I just had to do something. My guilt for falling in love with your wife, and also my gratitude that you saved my Chloe, both of which were in my thoughts all the time, day and night. That's when I came up with the idea of becoming a firefighter. If I can't repay you, I can at least compensate the community for their loss." He seemed completely sincere as he continued to cry. Then he pulled himself together. "Please let me bring Chloe. She's dying to thank you." I agreed. Chloe appeared in the doorway, but she wouldn't have moved without Virginia. They both ran up to my bed and were delighted to see their Best Dad certificate proudly on display. After they looked at me, Chloe said, "You look terrifying." Virginia agreed. I laughed while Art chided them. I said, "You are absolutely right, girls. You see, I was once a handsome prince, and then one day an evil old witch named Jennifer kissed me and turned me into an ogre." Virginia said, "Daddy, it's stupid. We had a wonderful visit." I swear, Virginia grew up during the time I was in the hospital. That's when I realized I didn't want to miss out on anything about my daughter's upbringing anymore. Art returned with the girls several times, but we also got to know each other better. I'll be damned if I haven't started to really like this guy. It helped that he never asked me if I would talk to Jennifer. He rarely mentioned her at all. During one of his last visits, I touched on a topic that I had been thinking about for a long time. Art, I hope we can restore my visiting schedule. If you and Jennifer agree, I'd like to see Virginia more often now that I'm not a firefighter. Well, that would be more than acceptable for several reasons. First of all, I'm a firefighter now, and you know what that means in terms of the schedule. The other is that Jennifer dumped me and the girls. She said she was filing for divorce. Butch, I think she fooled both of us. Perhaps she even fooled herself. She thought our work schedule was hurting our marriages and spending time with girls. Now I've come to the conclusion that she was just grumbling because all the attention wasn't on her. When she couldn't convince me not to become a firefighter, she just got up and left. I know I need help with Virginia and Chloe. Your mother and Jennifer's mother are temporarily helping. Besides, in case you haven't figured it out yet, Virginia and Chloe are now an inseparable couple. You can't have one without the other. How could she just leave Virginia? And she must have gotten a little closer to Chloe too. I think Jennifer became jealous of Chloe. Virginia wanted to spend time with Chloe, not with her mother. Jennifer seemed to be on her own, even when the four of us lived in the same house. Her last comment after she told me she didn't want custody was, "Girls seem to prefer their fathers anyway." Well, they can have you both. Damn it, Art. You're right. She was even more spoiled than I thought. Art burst into tears again. Art, Virginia and I will do everything in our power to help you and Chloe. At the time of writing this story, Virginia and Chloe are about to graduate from high school and go to college. I moved in with Art and the girls after rehab. The guys from the fire department chipped in and bought me a specially equipped minivan. The greatest contribution was made by Art. He is a really good man and has become an excellent firefighter. With my help, of course. We have given up parental and household responsibilities. As you can imagine, given my limitations, I need more time to do my part of the job. Fortunately, we've found a couple of ladies who can handle the problems our girls, only daughters, have been facing. They also satisfy the bedding needs that Art and I had. I am in the process of returning to my old house, which I rented out. Art and I will probably have new roommates as soon as the girls go to college. I suppose we'll meet a lot. Unfortunately, I try to pack everything I can in as little time as possible. The effects of the fire included burns to the esophagus and lungs as a result of inhaling fire and smoke. I was given 6 months or so to live. I didn't tell anyone. I don't want anyone to know until I can't hide it anymore. Jennifer's mom still sees Virginia and Chloe a lot. She keeps us updated about Jennifer. The last thing she said was that Jennifer had another child, but she divorced his father. It seems he cheated on her. I was trying to be sympathetic. Well, maybe not very much. From my point of view, my salvation in the circle allowed me to take revenge on Jennifer and Art for over a decade. I'll have to settle for that. The damned fire managed to ruin my revenge on him. Well, 2 out of 3 is not bad. I'm sorry, Dad. We'll talk soon. End.